of CNN Sports, I'm Tom Stinar, in a day that saw the end of the nation's longest home court winning streak. The UCLA Bruins kept their unblemished season intact with an incredibly dramatic duel in the desert with Arizona. The Bruins came close last year to ending the Wildcats' mastery at home, but came up a little bit short. After blowing a late 7-point lead, the Bruins found a way in the end this time to stop the Cats' 71-game winning streak on their home boards. Today, the McHale Magic deserted the Cats, who hadn't lost there in nearly 5 years. A victory today would have moved Arizona into a tie for 9th with UNLV on the all-time list. But it was not to be. The Wizards of Westwood stole the show in Tucson, and it was a monumental achievement. Second half action, it's Tracy Murray for 2 of his 14, and the Bruins kept the pressure on. Chris Mills led the Wildcats in scoring. He had 25, nailing the jumper there. The game was close all the way, seesawing back and forth. Wayne Womack, the easiest 2 he had of the day. He had a dozen. Matt Othick had a nice bunch of moves in his arsenal, faking and driving. The Cats rallied from a 7-point deficit. They tied up with 20 seconds left. Don McLean, he led everyone with 38, made 3 straight jumpers. And here is the winning shot. It was tied, but not for long. 1 second to go, and it's Derek Martin tickling the twine for the last 2 points of the game, silencing the McHale crowd. Final 89-87 behind 38 from Don McLean. The Bruins hand the Wildcats their first home loss since March of '87. Now let's get reaction from the locker room.
We're very excited and happy about it. The plane ride home will be an easy one now, knowing that we finally did it, because we thought we should have did it last year, but I guess this is kind of poetic justice for us.
You know, anything can happen. You know, we dodged a few teams, you know, in the past. You know, it's the bullet that got us.
Madison Square Garden in New York, number 7 North Carolina, stunned by Notre Dame. The Irish got all kinds of easy ones, led by LaFonso Ellis, who was on fire in the first half. Ellis again, the easy one. He was 8 for 8, 19 in the first half. Dean Smith's team had no answers. And it's Ellis again going backdoor, and what does he do? He jams the high flyer. He was just electrifying. And here come the Irish again, pushing it up, 3-on-1. This time it's Damon Sweet for the throwdown. Notre Dame, in the midst of a long road trip, wins again. Impressively, the Irish shot 62% for the game. You can see why. They got all kinds of dunks. They win their 3rd straight, and they beat a ranked team for the 2nd time this season. To Cameron Indoor in an ACC showdown. Georgia Tech trying to knock Duke off its lofty perch, but this was not to be. The Hex was on Tech late in the first half. Bobby Hurley, cross court, gets the pass from Christian Laettner, buries the 3. And Duke went into the locker room sporting a 7-point halftime lead on the Yellow Jackets. Duke beginning to break away in the second half. Christian Laettner got a bevy of shots, and here he gets the easiest 2 of the day for him. Blue Devils were up by 10, and they continue to pour it on, going a 14-2 run. The turnover, Thomas Hill, the nice pass up to Hurley, and a nicer pass to Grant Hill for the easy lay-in, and Duke just simply coasts in this one. 33 and 11 boards for Laettner. The Dukies improved to 10-0, extend the nation's longest win streak to 16. Like Arizona, the 4th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks put a long home court winning streak on the line. After back-to-back wins on the road to keep their perfect season intact, the Jayhawks returned to Allen Fieldhouse seeking their 25th straight win. Standing in the way, a Louisville team that once was in our top 25 but struggling of late. For the 3rd time this season, KU had to play catch-up at the half. No respect shown for the Cardinals, who were really playing well off the turnover. Here comes Greg Miner. He'd get it back, spotted up from 3, got to get out on him. He's going to bury it. Louisville was up by 9 for Denny Crum. Kansas breaking out of there in the first. Adonis Jordan. Up ahead to Rex Walters. Nice bounce pass. The hoop, the foul, and that cut the Vills' lead to 3. Everett Sullivan looking for Dwayne Morton, who came up big during the crunch time. Got it to go down. Got the foul, and Louisville with a surprising win on the road. And KU's perfect season and 24-game home win streak are history. Morton was the man down the stretch. He hit some big shots. 14 of his 20 came in the second half to face the 8-3 Cards. Other scores, the 3rd-ranked Cowboys up their record to 14-0 with a 28-point victory. Another huge game from Mr. Do-It-All, Byron Houston. He had 28. 8th-ranked Ohio State struggled all night before putting away Northwestern. A closing 11-1 run sealed the deal for the 10-1 Buckeyes. The Wildcats are 0 for their last 24 Big Ten games. Well, Villanova's wicked early season schedule paid off in a big way tonight. The Wildcats got off to an 0-for-3 start, but they've been showing signs of improvement of late, as number 5 UConn can attest. The Cats pulled away in the second half to stop the Huskies' 11-game tear. Now let's go to Villanova and see what happened. UConn in the dark uniforms. A nice give and go back to Scott Burrell, and he had 17. Close game early. Rolly Massimino's team turning it up on the defensive end. Here they come. Chris Walker, the steal, the pass, Mark Dowdell. And that put Nova up by 5. The Cats, with an 11-0 burst, they began to break away in the second half. Lance Miller. Look at the moves. The finger roll. That put Nova up by a dozen. They go on to win by 9 to improve to 3-1 in the Big East. They got a solid effort from junior center James Bryson. 19 points, 10 rebounds for him. Number 18, St. John's up-and-down season continued with an up effort against BC. Malik Sealy, 25 to reach 2,000 points for his career. The Redmen hand the Eagles their 19th straight conference setback. An 11-0 second-half run propelled Syracuse past the road-weary Miami club. Senior center Dave Johnson poured in a career-high 35 for the Orangemen, who bounced back in a big way from Wednesday's loss at Pitt. In Tampa, 24th-ranked NC Charlotte won by 10 to hand South Florida its first home loss of the season. 49ers are 2-0 in the Metro Conference. After a stunning win in Iowa City earlier in the week to boost their winning streak to 5, Michigan got a dose of road reality in Minneapolis. The hot-shooting Gophers brought the Wolverines' Fab Five down to earth with a wire-to-wire stunner. But the upset bug wasn't just biting in the Big Ten, as we shall see in a wrap of the rest of the day's big games. The Gophers were golden from the get-go and never trailed Michigan to rebound from their worst loss of the season. Was this really the same team that lost to Indiana by 46? Didn't look like it. Gophers called him Bashan Leonard to fill it up. The freshman canned 25 points, took 8 rebounds to outplay his more publicized former high school teammate Jalen Rose. A relatively easy 9-point win marked the 4th straight season. The Gophers upset a ranked team in their home conference opener. Michigan's other Big Ten team evened its conference mark at 1-1, but it wasn't easy. Tie game, Spartans inbound with 3.5 seconds to play, and the Illini defense totally breaks down. Chris Bashensky gets it back, scores at the buzzer, and it's over. MSU has the dramatic 77-75 win. In other Big Ten action, the Hoosiers found their shooting touch in the second half and rolling past the Badgers. To the Big East, Georgetown overcame an 8-point second-half deficit to top number 17 Seton Hall. The difference, Alonzo Mourning, clocking 6 shots, hauling down 11 boards, and canning 23. So the Hoyas win for the 9th time in 11 games. Subbing freely, Wimp Sanderson and company led by as many as 30 and had no trouble winning their 14th of the season. At Raucous Rupp Arena, the 11th-ranked Wildcats took a big bite out of SEC rival Florida for their 6th straight win. The momentum swung after an 8-0 Kentucky run to begin the second half. In the ACC, Florida State needed an extra period to down the Demon Deacons. Sam Cassell came up big to help the Noles get their 8th win. Lakers general manager Jerry West has said in the past that Arkansas's Todd Day should do less trash talking and just play ball. They must have been listening. He let his playing do all the talking, pouring in a career-high 43 to lead Arkansas to a 101-90 win at LSU. Iowa State matched its win total of a year ago with its 10th straight home win. The Cyclones erased a 14-point deficit in the closing 9 minutes to send the Sooners to their 2nd straight defeat. It looks to be a wild and wacky year ahead in the Big 8. Of course, the team to beat in that conference may be Oklahoma State. And you can hear from Cowboys coach Eddie Sutton tomorrow morning. College Coaches Corner, 11 o'clock Sunday morning. Host Dan Hicks. Sutton has his 3rd-ranked Cowboys unbeaten. They're looking pretty good behind the inside-outside game of All-America Byron Houston. Time for a break. When we come back, the NFL coaching carousel makes a turn toward another NFC Central team. The most coveted coach of the pack gets his due. We will introduce you to this former 49ers assistant who promises to bring a golden touch to Green Bay. That's next, but first, a look at more college scores on a roll. Back to our show, and for the 3rd time in 24 hours, an NFC Central team has pegged a new coach, with the top coaching prospect headed to northern Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers are the lucky winners in the Mike Holmgren sweepstakes, signing the 49ers assistant to a reported 5-year, $2.5 million deal. Holmgren, a winner wherever he's been, succeeds the fired Lindy Infante, who had just 1 winning season in his 4-year tenure. The 43-year-old Holmgren became a must-talk-to candidate for all 9 of the head coaching vacancies after the job he did with 3rd-string quarterback Steve Bono, who led the Niners to victory in their final 6 games. Holmgren inherits a Packers team that won just 4 times last season, but he believes his philosophy will eventually return the Pack back to glory.
So I look at myself as a teacher. You know, my first 10 or 12 years, I was a history teacher and football coach combination, and I think I'm very good at that. There have been some good coaches in here since Coach Lombardi, And I just have tremendous confidence in my ability to get the job done. Wherever I've been part of successful, winning programs.
Holmgren will assemble his staff very soon, and unlike his predecessor, Lindy Infante, Holmgren will hire an offensive coordinator. And while the 49ers lost their talented offensive coordinator, they did regain a second-round draft choice from Green Bay as part of a trade dispute which sent disgruntled linebacker Tim Harris to the Bay Area last September. Well, in a matter of hours, Championship Sunday in the NFL will kick off, and both of the title games have the home team as prohibited favorites. The odds makers like Buffalo and Washington to win by double digits to earn the right to play in Super Bowl 26 later in the month. But the Broncos and Lions will see what they can do about disrupting that equation. The Lions don't have fond memories of RFK. They've never won there and were eaten alive in the season opener when the Skins rolled to a 45-0 cakewalk. But the Lions are a vastly different team since then. This time they will have Barry Sanders in the lineup and Eric Kramer, who has led them to 7 straight victories. And while Detroit hopes to keep its magic carpet ride alive, the Denver Broncos look to continue their postseason magic. Master of the late drive, John Elway has won his last 7 playoff encounters, but has never won a Super Bowl. He's 0 for 3. To get back to the big one, Elway and company will have to knock off a Buffalo team that has gone 33-3 at home the last 4 years. The Broncos, who've never lost an AFC championship, will have Mark Jackson back in the lineup. The speedy wideout was expected to miss the rest of the season with a dislocated wrist, but he was pronounced fit to play in this one. And for the latest on the title tilts, check in with Vince Cellini and Buddy Ryan on NFL Preview, 11:30 a.m. Eastern this morning. They'll have live pregame reports from both playoff sites. The beat goes on for the NBA's hottest team. The Cleveland Cavaliers stayed in the fast lane, cruising to their team record-tying 11th straight victory. A 20-7 third-quarter spurt pushed the Cavs in front of the Sixers en route to their league-best 15th home win of the season. The Cavs starting the 6-game homestand in style. Jeff Ruland, third game since coming back from the Sixers after that long layoff, getting stretched, and he would need to be. Mark Price, fine game, 20 points, 8 of 10 shooting. Look at him wheel and deal on Johnny Dawkins there, putting the Cavaliers in front. Second quarter, Brad Daugherty with the ball fake. Ruland, a little bit rusty after that 5-year layoff. Daugherty takes advantage with the hoop and the foul. The game was tied at 55 apiece. Fourth quarter, Cavaliers took the big lead. Larry Nance stopping, surveying the situation, and then jamming over Manute Bol. Get out of there. The Cavs are up by 13. This team is really clicking. They win by 6 for their 11th straight. Daugherty stood tall in the paint, 23 points, season-high 16 boards. Now, the Cavs will have their work cut out for them if they hope to keep that streak alive. They got a couple of toughies ahead in Portland on Tuesday, Chicago on Thursday. First place at stake in New York, where the Knicks hosted Boston, and its newest player, Sherman Douglas, coming over from Miami in that trade with Brian Shaw. Mark Jackson, season-high 26. He got an easy one there, courtesy of the turnover for Pat Riley. It was tied up at 69 apiece. Third quarter, Sherman Douglas, wearing number 20 in green, driving, laying it up and over Patrick Ewing. 4 points in 10 minutes of action for Douglas. Reggie Lewis was the main man for this depleted Celtics squad. 33, going baseline and hitting the reverse layup to put the Celtics up by 3. The Knicks with the good ball movement. Starks, cross court. Xavier McDaniel, the nice fake. The drive on the baseline. He scores. He had 29. That tied it up at 91 apiece. The Knicks would push it up. And John Starks was the spark plug off the bench. 15. He loves to take it to the hole. Got fouled by Klein there. Count it. And New York goes on to win a tough one at the Garden by 4. Despite playing without their entire front line, the Celts did hang tough, but they saw the Knicks increase their Atlantic Division lead to a game and a half. To Phoenix, the Suns won their 12th in a row at home. They dumped Golden State for the 12th straight time. The Big Easy for Cotton's club. As Billy Owens, the rookie for Golden State, makes Tim Perry look kind of bad. But Phoenix would turn it on. Tom Chambers, the crossover, goes to the left hand, putting the Suns up by 2. He had a huge game, 31. Near the end of the first half, that's Andrew Lang slamming the Suns up by 11 after 1. Tim Hardaway, the dunk and the miss. That's the kind of night it was for Nelly and company. Golden State would miss the easy ones, and the Suns would make everything. Hornacek, 14 of his 31 of the third. Got it to go down. The Suns cruise in this one. The Warriors haven't won at Memorial Coliseum since March of '87. The Suns have shined bright. They've gone 17-4 in the last 21 games. San Antonio is on a 4-game tear, while the Nuggets have dropped 4 in a row. Look at this one. The Kings picked up just their 3rd road win of the season. They beat the Bucks in Milwaukee in overtime. The final there, 106-105. Two teams heading in totally opposite directions met up in Chicago. The league best Bulls have been on a tear since the season began and are on a pace to win 70 games this season. That would be a record. Miami, on the other hand, has been mostly cold. However, they're hoping new point man Brian Shaw will heat things up and get the team on the move. Shaw and company came out smoking early. Shaw, no points in limited action. Glenn Rice, the backcourt sharpshooter out of Michigan, draining 1 3 and then draining a long 3. Nothing but net. And that had the Heat up by a dozen. The Bulls come back and they break it out of there. Pippen the bounce pass to Will Perdue, who runs the floor nicely for a big man. Jordan let everyone go, of course. He leads the NBA in scoring, 30 points, and he hit that tonight. The Bulls led by 3 at the half, and then more ball movement in the second half. Pippen, the touch pass. Horace Grant had 16 points and 18 boards, and the Bulls were in full control. They beat the Heat by 9. They've won 11 of the last 12. They're 12-0 against the Heat lifetime, and the Heat have now dropped 8 of their last 9. Reggie Miller pumped in 30 to lead the Pacers past the Hawks. Isaiah Thomas, 23 for the victorious Pistons, who beat the Nets by just 2 points. A night after dumping Boston, the Timberwolves bested first-place Utah. They held Karl Malone to just 14 on the evening. There's your final 101-96 from Target Center. The struggling Rockets won back-to-back games for the first time in 3 weeks. Danny Ainge came off the bench, sparked the Portland attack with 23 as they beat Charlotte. The Bullets ended their 3-game losing skid. 29 points from Harvey Grant in this one. Washington has won 5 straight in that series. We've got the story on the Lynx and ice on the way, so keep it here. Back in just a moment.